Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to our new topic where we are going to discuss about differences between incident and non-conformity. Uh, it is observed that most of the peoples are confused between incident and non-conformity of information security or the cyber security. So basically here we are going to cover ISO 27001 because during the audit phase we got confused between the incident and non-conformity, and the people's also not able to understand whether a event is categorized as incident or it would be a non-conformity. So today we will discuss these things. So in key topics, what we are going to cover today is how to detect and recover when things go wrong, that is called as incident. How to reduce the impact of adverse event, that is again an incident. How learning from the adverse event can improve information security. So these three key topics which we are going to cover today. Apart from this, we are also going to cover what actually the non-conformity is. So let's set up the agenda of today's topic. It is very dangerous to assume that nothing will ever go wrong. If you have identified the information security or the cyber security risk and accordingly you do have appropriate control, that doesn't mean the things will not go wrong. Information security is all about managing the risk from the adverse event. We are only managing the risk, we are not eliminating them. However, for this purpose we do have a proper incident management plan. By having a proper incident management plan, we can recover from the failures. So ISO standard defines two distinct types of failure. The first is non-conformity and the other another is the incident. Non-conformity are identified during the audits. The definition of the non-conformity is to non-fulfillment of the known requirement. If you peoples are in the ISO 27001 implementation and auditing, or you are in any field of auditing of ISO standards, you may aware that ISO 19011 is a standard which guides us about the auditing principle, that how we need to do the audit and how we need to categorize the non-conformance, how we need to prepare the plan before going for the audits, and how we need to set the agenda of the audit. So these are the things has been covered in ISO 19011 standard. So non-conformity is the non-fulfillment. It's a non-fulfillment of a known requirement. Then it would be a non-conformance. Suppose standard says you need to have a asset management policy or access control policy within the organization. If we do not have access management policy within the organization, so this would be a non-conformance as per the standard requirement. So there are various categories of non-conformance, major, minor, observation, all. These things we'll cover in the separate videos. Okay, when we are going to see the how to identify the non-conformity to all, so I will prepare a separate videos for this. So today we are going to only discuss about non-conformity, the incident. Now, incident, what actually the incident are? Incident is an unexpected or unwanted event likely to compromise the business operations. As per the ISO 27001 standard or ISO 27000 standard, incident is categorized as, or you can say defined as, unexpected or unwanted event that is likely to compromise a business operations, that is called as an incident. So if you people know how to identify the risk and all, so I will also prepare a separate video for the risk. In the risk, we assume that these things may go wrong in future. In the same way, incident also, we don't know whether these things will happen, but we need to be prepared for that. If incident will occur, then I will respond accordingly. So this is the basic definitions of incidents and non-conformity. The organization should take action to control the correct non-conformity and respond to prevent reoccurrence. If non-conformity would not be closed properly, so this would result in an incident. So you people, I believe you have got a fair idea. Non-conformity, if the identified non-conformity would not be closed, then it would result in a non-conform. It would result in a incident. This is the basic definition what we need to understand. Now, non-conformity may increase the likelihood of incident. If we are not going to close the non-conformity, then it would increase the likelihood of incident. So I have taken an example of access control. If we don't apply proper access control within the organization, it would result in an incident. What kind of incident would be? Uh, our data may be theft from inside people also, data may be theft from the outside persons also. Because we don't have the proper access control, we don't have the proper logical access control, or you can say physical access control. Then non-conformity may result in an incident. Both incidents and non-conformity require a prepared and timely response. In the non-conformance also, you need to be prepared, or you can say you need to respond. If non-conformity arise, then also you need to close those non-conformance with proper evidences and all. In the incident also, you need to uh, handle the incident properly, so and also you need to learn a lesson so that these kinds of things may not occur again. Both incident and non-conformity both required timely respond. We need to timely respond to the non-conformance also and the incident also. Both non incident and your non-conformity lead to improvement in the ISMS. If you'll respond them properly, this would improve our information security management system within the organization. A key difference is subject to audit. Like when we are going for the audit, then certain non-conformance observed, then these non-conformance need to be addressed on a time scale. You can say on a timely manner you need to address and close those non-conformance. But incident non-conformance arises from our internal organization. If you will not fulfill the standard requirement, it would be a non-conformance. But incident, in case of incident, it could come from your internal organization also, and it could come from outside organization. Like some hacking activity may happen from outside your organization. The incident would come from your outside the organization. And also the major incidents like act of god related incident, like incident of fire, water, earthquake, flood. So these kinds of incidents are always there. So we need to have a proper business continuity plan to tackle with these kinds of incidents. So this is the basic difference between incident and non-conformity. We'll go one by one. We'll see what actually the non-conformities are, and we'll also see how to tackle the non-conformity. The first thing in the non-conformity that comes is how to identify the non-conformity. If you people have got a chance to see ISO 27001 standard, the ISO 27001 standard It's the godfather of all the standards for the information security management system. If you want to protect your information within the organization, then you need to implement ISO 27001 standard within the organization. ISO 27001 standard do have 114 clauses. Total 114 clauses are there in ISO 24 controls. You can say total 114 controls are there in ISO 27001, and 10 clauses are there. So now there are two types of non-conformities as per ISO 27001 standard. The first non-conformity, the document management system deviates from the requirement. If your document management system, what does this document management system say? The document management system stands for you need to document all the policies and process within the organization, and proper, if you are maintaining a record, then you should have proper record keeping within your organization. This is called a document management system. Now, this the first thing is the documented system, whether you have documented your policy and process within the organization or not. Another things is the implementation of management system. If you have written certain thing within your policies and process, but these things are not being implemented on a ground level, that means you are deviating from your process or your control. Now let's take an example here. Like suppose you have a password policy within the organization. Your password policy says you should have a 8 character password, which, and the password would be your alphanumeric password should be there, one special character would be there. So these are the criteria which you have listed down in your password management policy. Now in your password management policy, you are also saying that your password needs to be changed within 45 days. But on ground reality, when you are doing the assessment, you see, you have got to know that your passwords is not expiring in 45 days. It totally a people choice to reset your password. So this would be a non-conformance. If you have written certain thing within your policies and process document, this should be also implemented on ground. The non-conformities may result from not doing enough or from doing too much. For example, why I'm saying this? For example, you have blocked the USB stick where block has not been justified. The non-conformity justified is a non-conformity. If you are blocking a USB sticks within the laptop, but you are not justifying it, why you are blocking these things, but so is identifying the need of such a block, documenting that is in place, and then non-implementing it. So if you are saying, if you have not documented also, then it would be also a non-conformity. And if you have documented also, but you are not blocking the USB stick, so this is also a non-conformity. Normally, the non-conformity has been identified during the audit itself. When you are going to do the audit, a non-conformity may be identified. Now, we have got to know how to identify the non-conformity. Now, another thing is that dealing with those non-conformities. When you have identified the non-conformity, then also you need to deal with those non-conformities also. To dealing with those non-conformity, if you have identified non-conformity on your documented management system, then you need to prepare the proper policies and process within the organization. If the non-conformity identify on the implementation side, then you need to focus on the your implementation. So dealing with non-conformity, it totally depend upon the types of non-conformity which you have identified. The non-conformity also require investigation. You can say if you have identified a non-conformity, so there are two things should be done within the organization, or you can say we need to investigate why those non-conformity has uh, is there. The first thing what you need to keep in mind is to conduct a RCA. What does this RCA means? RCA is your root cause analysis. Root cause analysis. Why this is happened. And another thing what you need to focus upon is your CAPA, that is called as kappa. So earlier we used to say it as a corrective action and the preventive action, but now it is called as correction. It is called as correction and corrective action. Correction and corrective action. Correction and corrective action. The two things you need to know while dealing with the non-conformist. The first thing is to identify the RCA. RCA is nothing but root cause analysis. In the root cause analysis, what you need to do, you need to find out the main cause, why this happened, why the non-conformance or why the non-conformance arises. So you need to find out the root cause analysis. For the identifying the root cause analysis, we use 5 why principle. What we need to use, you need to ask a question every time till you comes to a conclusion. The 5 why principle we need to use for RCA, and for once you have identified the RCA, then you need to find out the correction and corrective. You need to do the correction. In the correction, what we need to do, we need to correct the non-conformity, and in the corrective action, what we need to do, we need to have a proper solution so that these non-conformities should not arise again. So this is the basic difference between correction and corrective action. I hope you have understand. Now, this after this RCA and kappa, what another things you need to understand, who is responsible for that, because things every non-conformance, the closure of the non-conformance is the responsibility of the some person. Who is responsibility you need to define, and the target closure date is also defined. Also, we need to define that when we are going to close those non-conformity. So these are the things what you need to consider while dealing with the non-conformance. When you are going to deal with the non-conformance, you need to consider these three things in your mind. The first thing is your RCA, that is called as root cause analysis. Another thing is your corrective action and the preventive action, or you can say correction and corrective action, and the timeline and who is the owner of, or you can say who is the responsible to close those non-conformance. Now, the first part is over. Now we are going to see information security incident. So as we have seen in the definitions also, that information security incidents are unwanted, or you can say unexpected event with a significant probability of threatening business operations or information security may constitute of an incident. So incidents are unwanted and unexpected. Let's take an example of incidents like your fire is your one of the incident what may happen within your organization. Now, fire can happen from any of the source, like short circuit also happen within your organization, or some external sources also contribute uh, for the incident. No, the fire incidents are unwanted and unexpected also. We are not wanting these incidents to happen within the organization, and it's also not expected within the organization. So these things So this is, you can say, considered as a incident. Now, when incident will happen, what would the impact it would have in the organization? It would, or you can say, it would have impact on the life of the employees who is working within the organization. Also, our data centers are there within the organization, server rooms are also there in the organization, lots of evidence, confidential information we do have across the organization. These things may destroyed by having a fire related incident within the organization. So you can say outcomes are of the incidents are very high, the severity of the incidents are very high. So in same way, there may be incident related to network security also. If you don't we are not having the proper network related controls within the organization, there is a chance or that the hackers penetrate within our system and they will take away all our confidential information which we do have. So this is also your one of the technological incident. Now, now you got to know the difference between incident and non-conformant. Now you know that certain incident may happen within the organization. Now, to tackle those incidents, we need a proper plan, proper policy should be there within the organization. We need to have a proper defined policy within the organization, and also we need qualified persons, or you can say competent person to deal with those kinds of incidents, because there may be incident related to technical incident, the physical security related incident may also be happening within the organization, act of god related incident may also happen within the organization. So we, for tackling those incidents, we need to have a proper response policy or plan. So in the incident response policy, we need to have a proper step by step things what we are going to do in case of incident happen within the organization. So we need to develop a proper incident response center, or you can say a coordination center, uh, or you can say CERT, or some of the organization are saying it, or incident response team. So there may be a name depending upon the organization, but we need to have a proper plan, proper policy within the organization, what needs to be done. Let's take an example. Suppose your one of the server has been compromised. Okay, now if it is compromised, it is got hacked by the hacker. So in an incident response plan or policy, you should write the things that in that case what the immediate action you are going to take. You need to first disconnect the server from the internet, so that hackers should not have any more access to the network. So these are the things would comes under the policies and plan when we are having the incident response policy and incident response plan. The but the question comes here, by having incident response plan or incident response policy, do incident may not happen in the organization? No, it is not like that. Incident may happen within the organization by having those incident plan and policy. What you need to do in that case, you need to exercise your plan. You need to do the mock drills. You need to conduct a drills related to that incident or known incident. You need to conduct the drill so that you may able to respond properly when incident happen within your organization. So these things you need to keep in mind while preparing the incident response policy and plan. Now another thing is the responsibility and an authority. The successful incident response required coordination. The thing is, when you are going to respond to an incident, the first thing what you need to keep in mind is the proper coordination. Most of incident will involve working with others, both inside and outside organization. from technical staff, your IT staffs, your HR, your legal persons, or your communication advisor, your regulator, law enforcement agencies, all these things, all those persons should be properly communicated, or you can say proper response is required. Nowadays, there are numbers of regulation change happening. We are dealing with privacy related incident also. There are numbers of privacy related regulations are there in various countries. So incident like GDPR is there. If there's some privacy related incident happen, you need to report those incident within 72 hours to your data controller. Now, in India itself, as per the certain guidelines, cyber security guidelines, you need to report all the incident within 6 hours to the certain authority. So that's why we need to have a proper focus on this coordination and the communication. If certain incidents happen within the organization, this needs a proper coordination activity. Let's take example, like we have taken example of fire related incident. In that case, we cannot handle the fire by your own. If the minimal fire is there, we can handle. But if the fire is level of fire is much more, then in that case you need to inform to the uh, fire department, your local fire department. That's why coordination is very high. If there is a casualty, you need to also inform to your nearest hospitals and all, your nearest police station also you need to inform. So this requires a lots of coordinations. Incident coordinators must be granted or be able to quick obtain the authority to modify or suspend any organization's activity until they are restored to a secure state. For example, a compromised computer may need to be disconnected from the network as soon as a suspected account has its access right withdrawn or research activity suspended while the integrity of its data is checked. This is the responsibility and authority is very important in the case of incident. Now, next thing is the stages in the incident response. There are three stages in the incident response. The first is the detection, another one is the analysis, and the third one is the response. The detection is very important phase. The thing is that we need to first detect the incident. If you are not able to detect incident, then we cannot do anything. The detection of incident is very important. Based upon the detection of incident, we need to do the analysis of incident, and the third one is the response of the incidents. These are the three phases of the, you can say, stages of the incident response what we need to keep in mind. Now, once you have responded the incidents, you back to the normal functioning, then we need to conduct a review. In the review, you need to see why the incidents happen, what are the lessons we have learned from those incidents, so that these incidents may not happen in future. The review is very important. In the review also, you need to learn, you need to first thing you need to understand what are the lessons you have learned from those incidents. The, and also you need to generate the report for the incidents that would help in the continual improvement cycle of the organization, so that it may not happen within the organization. Now in the last, we are going to conclude as a summary. The ISMS should aim to manage the level of severity of the adverse event, not to eliminate them. The first thing is that information security management system should aim to manage the label and the severity of the adverse event. We can manage the label and the severity of the incident, not eliminate them. The first lesson what we have learned. Another thing is that ISMS should contain plan to respond to and learn from these events. Your plan to respond, how we are going to respond to those incidents, and what are the lessons we have learned. The third thing, incident response require trusted cooperation between within and outside organization. The communication is very important in this case of incidents. So now in today's video, what we have learned two things: the difference between incident and non-conformity, how to handle incident and how to handle the non-conformity. I hope now it is very clear to you the difference between incident and the non-conformity. So that's all from this video. We'll meet you in our next video. Thank you.